Hello everyone, I'm Joshua Aaron Rutherford here, and welcome back to my channel. I want to show you something about this book. Have you ever worried about what other people think of you? Today, I will be reading of this book. It's called A Bad Case of Stripes. This is by David Shannon. But first, I will be making all of the languages books called A Bad Case of Stripes. I want to show you something about my paper. I've already write those down. Do you know what it says? It says, I will make the languages books A Bad Case of Stripes. This is from my David Shannon, okay? Okay, so I write all of the languages down that I made. Let's hear what Siri says about this book, A Bad Case of Stripes, all of the languages that I made. But first, let me take out of my phone and ask Siri what languages looks like. Hey Siri, what kind of the languages books from A Bad Case of Stripes?
You know, Joshua, our languages include English, Arabic, Bulgarian, Cantonese, Catalan, Chinese, Chinese Taiwan, Croatian, Czech, Danish, Dutch, Estonian, Finnish, Flemish, French, French Canadian, German, Greek, Hebrew, Hindi, Hungarian, Icelandic, Indonesian, Italian, Japanese, Kazakh, Korean, Latvian, Lithuanian, Malay, Norwegian, Polish, Portuguese European, Portuguese Brazilian, Romanian, Russian, Serbian, Slovak, Slovene, Spanish Castilian, Spanish Latin American, Swedish, Tamil, Telugu, Thai, Turkish, Ukrainian, and Vietnamese. That's all the languages that I made for your book, A Bad Case of Stripes.
Siri is right. So I have to make all of the languages books called A Bad Case of Stripes. It says English, Arabic, Bulgarian, Cantonese, Catalan, Chinese, Chinese Taiwan, Croatian, Czech, Danish, Dutch, Estonian, Finnish, Flemish, French, French Canadian, German, Greek, Hebrew, Hindi, Hungarian, Icelandic, Indonesian, Italian, Japanese, Kazakh, Korean, Latvian, Lithuanian, Malay, Norwegian, Polish, Portuguese, Portuguese Brazilian, Romanian, Russian, Serbian, Slovak, Slovene, Spanish, Spanish Latin American, Swedish, Tamil, Telugu, Thai, Turkish, Ukrainian, and Vietnamese. So that's what it says. I will make the languages books A Bad Case of Stripes. You see? That's all of the languages that I made. Okay, so whenever it gets done, all of the languages books, whenever it is coming up of my YouTube channel, it will get a new prize of my book. It goes like this. It says A Bad Case of Stripes by David Shannon. When the other reader finished the reading of this page, I might have to turn this page to see what's next, okay? Okay, so let me look of this book. This is The Blue Sky in imprint of Scholastic ink. This is from the New York. It has lima beans on it. This is a story of Camilla Cream who loves lima beans, but she cannot eat them because the other kids hate those lima beans at school and she wants to fit in. Today, she was getting a first day of school and she couldn't decide what to wear. She was wearing a beautiful, pretty red dress, and she looked in the mirror, But then all of a sudden, she got covered in stripes. She is a rainbow girl because she ain't go to school today because she needs to stay in bed. Camilla's mother, her name is Mrs. Cream. She runs into her room and she screams, "Oh my heavens, you're completely covered with stripes." And Mrs. Cream felt her forehead. She's like, "Do you feel all right?" "I feel fine, but just look at me," Camilla answered. "You're certainly not be going to school today. You can back in bed this instant," her mother ordered. Okay, let me just turn a page. This is the character named Dr. Bumble came to examine Camilla. "Most extraordinary. I never seen it before. Are you have any coughing, sneezing, runny nose, aches, pains, chills, or uncontrollable twitching?" Let me pause for a second. Do you think Dr. Bumble asked Camilla a few questions about any sickness? Let's find out. But she says, "No, I feel fine." "Well then," Dr. Bumble said, turning to Mrs. Cream, "I do not see any reason why she shouldn't go to school tomorrow. Here's some ointment that should help clear up those stripes in a few thousand days. If they don't have to go away, you know where to reach me." And off he went. The next day at school, the other kids laughed at Camilla. They called her Camilla Crayon and Night of the Living Lollipop. She tried her best to act as if everything was normal. When the class did a Pledge of Allegiance, her stripes is turning red, white, and blue and broke out any stars on it. You see? They are shocked. The other kids, this was fantastic. You know what? Let me say it again. The other kids thought this was fantastic. Or even this is great. One yelled, "Let's see some purple polka dots." But Camilla turned all purple polka dotty. Someone else shouted, "Checkerboard, please." And a pattern of squares covered her skin. Let me say it again. And a pattern of squares emerged on her skin. Soon, everyone was calling out different shapes and colors, and poor Camilla was changing faster than you could change channels on a television. Let's turn a page. That is Mrs. Cream, and this is Mr. Cream. That's Camilla's father. She was calling the school principal. His name is Mr. Harms, but not Mrs. Harms. Okay, so in this movie, Mrs. Cream called Mrs. Harms. She is the school principal. And in this book, Mr. Harms, he is a school principal. And he says, "I'm sorry, Mrs. Cream. I'm gonna have to ask you to keep Camilla home from school. She's just too much of a distraction. I've been getting phone calls from the other parents. They're afraid those stripes may be contagious." She was so embarrassed. She couldn't believe that 2,000 days ago, everyone liked her. But not 2,000. Just for 2 days ago, everyone liked her. But right now, nobody wanted to be in the same room with her. He tried to make her feel better. "Is there anything I can get you, dear?" he asked. "No, thank you," sighed Camilla. What she really wants was a nice plate of lima beans, but she had been laughed at enough for one day. Okay, so in this movie, there's no specialist in this movie from A Bad Case of Stripes. But Dr. Bumble arrived, who came here to examine Camilla. He just squeezed on her and jabbed, tapped, and tested. It is very uncomfortable. So in this book, it has specialists. His name is Dr. Grob, Dr. Sponge, Dr. Cricket, and Dr. Young. You see? This is specialists from this book. It has patterns, it has shapes, and it has colors or something like that. Well, it's not the mums or the measles, definitely not chickenpox or sunburn, replied specialists. Try these. Take one of each before bed. They each handed her a bottle filled with different colored pills. They filed out of the front door of her house, following by Dr. Bumble. Let me turn the page. Look at her! She turned into a human-shaped pill. I mean, I do not understand that. Camilla took her medicine. It was disgusted, or horrible, or terrible. And finally, awful. Okay, let me say it again. Camilla took her medicine at night. It was horrible. When she woke up in the morning, she sure did feel different, but when she got dressed, her clothes don't fit right. She looked in the mirror all of the sudden, and there, staring back at her, was a giant multicolored pill with her face on it. See, I told you. So in this movie, there's no experts either of this movie. But Dr. Bumble is an expert while he's wearing a glasses on, when he looked all of the numbers, and he says it might be a virus or bacteria or fungus. There's fuzzy little virus balls, squiggly bacteria tails, and colored fungus splotches. Okay, so in this book, it has the experts. His name is Dr. Gord, and Mr. Mellon were the finest scientific minds in the land. So Camilla was poked and prodded, looked at, and listened to. They just wrote down lots of numbers. They huddled together and whispered. And he announced with authority, and Dr. Gord finally spoke. It could be a virus. All of a sudden, fuzzy little virus balls appeared all over Camilla. Or possibly some form of bacteria, Mr. Mellon said. Out popped squiggly little bacteria tails. Oh dear. Or it might be a fungus, Dr. Gord added. Instantly, Camilla was covered with different colored fungus splotches. That's not good. The experts looked at Camilla, then at each other. We need to go over these numbers and get back to the lab. We'll call you when we know something, explained the experts, but the experts did not have a clue, much less a cure. They don't know what's going on, do they? Maybe after all those tests. For right now, the TV news has already here. There is a huge crowd was camped out on the front lawn and telling the story of the bizarre case of the incredible coloring changing kid. This is from the reporters from every channel were outside of her house. There's a huge crowd was camped out on the front lawn. That's what it says. It says WCKO Channel 5, full color tattoos. Okay. The creams were already swamped with all kinds of more remedies from psychologists, allergists, herbalists, nutritionists, psychics, an old medicine man, a guru, and even a veterinarian. Yeah, just a veterinarian, not a vegetarian. Each so-called cure only added to poor Camilla's strange appearance until it was hard to even recognize her. I mean, very hard to even recognize her. She sprouted roots and berries and crystals and feathers and a long furry tail. But it didn't work. See? Camilla was watching TV, and then everyone was talking about her. Let me pause for a second. So, in this movie, there's no psychics, there's no medicine man, there's no guru. In this book, it has psychics and medicine man, guru, even a veterinarian. Okay, so in this movie, I've watched the TV news about me when I was covered in stripes, but a TV announcer voice like she speaks in Hindi though. So this is from the psychologist girl. This is from allergist girl. This is an herbalist girl. Her name is Kaylee. Nutritionist girl, her name is Kathy. And a veterinarian girl, her name is Melanie. Okay, so now I'm going to turn the page. What in the world is going on? She turned herself into a room. Oh my gosh. Her parents is going to freak out if they see Camilla in the room. But then a woman who called herself, her name is environmental therapist. Do you know what environment means? Well, environment means what's around you and what surroundings. Claims she could cure Camilla. Close your eyes. Breathe deeply and become one with your room, she said. I wish you hadn't said that, Camilla groaned. Suddenly, she melted into the walls of her room. Her bed became her mouth, her dresser was her nose, and 2 paintings were her eyes. The therapist screamed and ran away from the house. What are we going to do? Camilla's mother cried. It just keeps getting worse and worse. She began to cry. Suddenly, there's a small knock on the door while Mr. Cream was heard while she's knocking at the door. Watch this. And there she was. And there stood an old woman who was just as plump and sweet as a strawberry. Excuse me, but I think I can help, she said brightly. She came into Camilla's room and looked around. Oh my goodness. What we have seen here is a bad case of the stripes. One of the worst I've ever seen, she said with a shake of her head. She pulled a container of small green beans from her bag. Here, she said, these might do the trick. Are those magic beans? Mrs. Cream asked. Of course not, replied the kind of old woman. There's no such thing. These are just plain old lima beans. I'll bet you like some, wouldn't you? The old woman asked Camilla. Camilla was the big heaping plateful of lima beans more than about anything, but she was afraid to admit it. Yuck! No one likes lima beans, especially me, says Camilla. Oh dear, I guess I was wrong about you, said the old woman sadly. She put her beans back in her bag and started towards the door. Camilla watched the old woman walk away. Those beans would taste so good. Okay, so let me pause for a second. Do you think everyone loves lima beans? I don't think so. Because everyone does not like lima beans because they hated them. Well, Camilla loves lima beans, but she was still afraid to admit it because of the lima beans because her friends make fun of her. And being laughed at for eating them was nothing compared to what she's been going through, and she finally couldn't even stand it. Wait, the truth is I really love lima beans, she cried. The old woman smiled. She took a handful of lima beans and popped them into her mouth. Said Camilla. And she says, I thought so. Do you see her? She was back to life. The branches, feathers, and squiggly tails are all disappeared, and the whole room was swirling around. And when it stopped, there stood Camilla, and everything was back to normal. I'm cured, she shouted. Yes, said the old woman. I knew the real you was in there somewhere. She patted her on the head, then she went outside and vanished into the crowd. Afterwards, she wasn't quite the same. Some of the kids at school said she was weird, but she don't care a bit. She ate all the lima beans she wanted, and she never even had a touch of stripes again. Do you see her now? Now she's eating those lima beans. And that's the end of this book called A Bad Case of Stripes. I just already take all of the screenshots so I can make all of the languages books from A Bad Case of Stripes. It's only from iCloud Drive from the Files app. Okay, so if you would like to make all of the languages from A Bad Case of Stripes, go to the apps. It's called Translate Tokyo to see more languages that we made. Or go to the Natural Reader to see what languages looks like. If you want to make all of the languages books from A Bad Case of Stripes of beginning of this book, you have to copy and paste. If you have any questions about From A Bad Case of Stripes by David Shannon of this my book, please let me know if you want to see all of the languages that we had made. Okay, everyone, so before you guys leave, I want to share of my story. It's called A Bad Case of Stripes movie. But I'm going to ask all of the 4 questions that I made from the Google from A Bad Case of Stripes. Okay, so the first question says, what is the book Bad Case of Stripes about? The story is about a girl who loves lima beans but stops eating them after she is teased. Then she contracts a bad case of stripes. The only cure is to eat the lima beans she loves. This story is a great introduction to speaking with children about why it's important to be yourself. Okay, so the second question is, what is the moral lesson of the A Bad Case of Stripes? The main moral lesson of A Bad Case of Stripes by David Shannon is the importance of being true to oneself and not being afraid to be different. The story highlights how Camilla Cream's fear of judgment and desire to conform to her peers leads to a physical manifestation of her worries, a bad case of stripes. Ultimately, she learns that embracing her own individuality and love for lima beans is the key to feeling happy and healthy. So the third question is, what does Camilla Cream refuse to eat that gives her a bad case of the stripes? Camilla Cream loves lima beans but decides not to eat them because everyone else thinks they're gross and she wants to fit in. The next morning, she wakes up and has colored stripes all over her body. So the fourth question is, what age is a bad case of stripes appropriate for? The ages is 5th through 9th. There's so many questions about from A Bad Case of Stripes. But I'm going to do all of the questions later after we finish the languages books. Okay, so let's hear for A Bad Case of Stripes movie so I can tell you a story about from all of the stripes. Okay, so let's hear a story about from A Bad Case of Stripes movie that I made. So I played as Camilla, I played as Mrs. Cream, I played as Mr. Cream, Dr. Bumble, environmental therapist, and an old lady. That's all of the characters that I made while I'm playing as the characters of this movie. Okay, so let the story begin. Here we go. Okay, it says, I made this movie called A Bad Case of Stripes. I played as Camilla Cream, and I just love lima beans. Or maybe macaroni and cheese, but I never ate them. I always worried about what other people thought of me. Why? Because the other kids in the school don't like them. So today, it was the first day of school, and I couldn't decide what to wear. I put on the clothes on and looked in the mirror. Then I screamed. I played as Camilla's mother named Mrs. Cream, and she said,
"Oh my heavens, you're completely covered in stripes!"
I got covered stripes from head to toe, and I looked like a rainbow or lollipop. My mother touched my forehead. She asked,
"Do you feel all right?"
and I said,
I feel fine, but just look at me. Why do you say everything like in school, and I look like a lollipop? You're certainly not going to school today. You get back in bed this instant.
my mother ordered. I was relieved. I actually don't have to miss the school, but I was afraid that other kids laughing at me, and I have no clue how to decide what to wear with those crazy stripes. I played as Dr. Bumble. He came in to examine. He said,
Most extraordinary. I've never seen anything like it. Are you having any coughing, sneezing, runny nose, aches, pains, chills, hot flashes, dizziness, drowsiness, shortness of breath, or uncontrollable twitching?
he asked.
No. I feel fine. Well then,
And he turned to my mother.
I don't see any reason why she shouldn't go to school tomorrow. Here's some ointment that should help clear up those stripes in a few days. If they don't have to go away, you know where to find me. Thank you so much.
And off he went. When I go to school, they laughing at me because of the stripes. They called me Camilla Crayon and Night of the Living Lollipop. That's not nice to me. So I go to class. They are doing the Pledge of Allegiance. My stripes are turning red, white, and blue, and I broke out in stars. But kinda, American flag. The other kids laughing again. Someone yelled out.
Hey Camilla, let's see some purple polka dots.
I turned all purple polka dots, but someone else shouted,
How about checkerboard? Yeah, let's see them.
and a pattern of squares covered my skin. That makes me angry. That night, Mrs. Harms, the school principal, called, but not Mr. Harms, though. I'm sorry, Mrs. Cream, she says. I'm going to have to ask you to keep Camilla home from school. She's just too much of distraction, and I've been getting calls from the other parents. They're afraid those, stripes may be contagious. My mother says, thanks for telling me. I played as Camilla's father named Mr. Cream, and he tried to make me feel better.
Is there anything else I could get you, dear?
He asked.
No thank you.
I sighed, but Dr. Bumble arrived again, but no specialists. He used his doctor tools, hammer, heart beating, and arm pumping. He gave me a fruit medicine to make me feel better. Thank you, I said sadly. No problem, he said. So I drank my medicine. It was horrible. When I woke up in the morning, I feel different, but when I got dressed, my clothes don't fit right. When I looked in the mirror, I turned myself into a giant multicolored pill with my face on it. But that's not all, so I will be continuing. Dr. Bumble arrived once again because he wears glasses on and he is the expert. But not two experts, though. He finally spoke. It might be a virus, he announced. Fuzzy little virus balls appeared all over me. Or possibly some form of bacteria, he said. Out popped squiggly little bacteria tails. Oh dear. It could be a fungus, he added. I was covered with different colored fungus blotches, but the expert didn't have an idea, much less a cure. From now on, the TV news is here. The TV announcer talks about me when I covered in stripes, but she speaks in Hindi. So, she talks about all kinds of remedies, psychologist, allergist, herbalist, nutritionist, and a veterinarian, but not psychic, medicine man, or guru. I sprouted roots and berries and crystals and feathers and a long furry tail, but it did not work. I played as environmental therapist. She could cure me. Like, just close your eyes, she said. Breathe deeply and become one with your room. I wish you hadn't said that, I groaned. Suddenly, I melted into the walls of my room. My bed was my mouth, the dresser was my nose, and these paintings become my eyes. The therapist screams and runs in my house. What do we do now? My mother cried. It just keeps getting worse and worse, my father cried. And then there's a small knock on the door.
Who's that?
I played as an old lady, just as plump and sweet as a strawberry. Excuse me, but I can help, she said brightly. She came to my room and looked around.
Oh my goodness! What do we have here? This is the worst a bad case of stripes I have ever seen.
She take a lima beans out her bag and she says,
Aha! This might do the trick.
Are those magic beans?
Oh my heaven's sake, no. There is no such thing. These are just plain old lima beans. I'll bet you like some, wouldn't you?
I want a big plate full of lima beans, but I was afraid to admit it. Yuck! No one likes lima beans, especially me.
Oh dear. Well, I guess I was wrong about you.
She said sadly. I watched her walking away. Finally, I can't stand it. Wait! The truth is, I really love lima beans.
I thought so.
I would really love some lima beans.
Ooh, I bet you would.
She took the lima beans in my mouth. Instantly, the branches, feathers, and squiggly tails are all disappeared. The whole room was swirling around, and when it stopped, I was cured at last. She patted my head and went outside and vanished. Afterward, I wasn't quite the same. Some of the kids at school said she was weird, but I don't care a bit. I ate all of the lima beans / macaroni and cheese and apple juice I wanted, and I never got any stripes again. And that's the end of this movie. And thanks for watching, and please make sure you click like, comment below, and subscribe. What do you guys think of this movie called A Bad Case of Stripes? Well, it was amazing, right? I hope so. Okay, so if there are any questions about my movie from A Bad Case of Stripes, please, 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 please let me know. If you would like to like, comment, and subscribe. So that's the picture of Camilla Cream, who's covered in stripes, and she has a thermometer in her mouth, and she has a cup of medicine, and it got a straw on it. And Camilla was not feeling good because she got covered in stripes while she's in bed. And she got tapped and tested because of the specialists is Dr. Grob, Sponge, Cricket, and Young, and especially Dr. Bumble. Okay, everyone, I hope you like Of This Languages books. So if there are any questions, please, please, please let me know. Okay, everyone, enjoy Of the Languages books. Let's get started.